What if I told you a penny that looks ordinary could be worth more than a brand new car, or even a house? Millions of Americans have owned the 1943 steel penny or a Lincoln Wheat Penny without realizing some versions have sold for tens of thousands and even six-figure prices. These coins were never meant to survive, yet a few rare examples escaped, and collectors are desperately searching for them today. In this video, I'm exposing the exact secrets that separate a 1-cent coin from a life-changing payday. You need to watch this video all the way through, because the biggest value clues are revealed near the end. And if you want to stay ahead of hidden U.S. coin treasures, subscribe to Coins Most Valuable right now, because the next penny you find could change everything. Coin number 1, listen carefully, because this is one of the most misunderstood pennies in American history. A single coin created during World War II, often ignored, spent, or thrown away, has already reached prices that most people would never believe for a 1-cent piece. The 1943 wheat penny with the D mint mark is not just old pocket change. It's a wartime survivor that collectors still aggressively pursue today. In this video, you'll discover why some of these pennies are worth serious money, what hidden details separate ordinary examples from extraordinary ones, and why millions of Americans unknowingly let these coins pass through their hands. Stay with this video until the end, because the most important value-defining information comes later. The 1943 wheat penny with the D mint mark holds a unique position in United States coin history because it was born during one of the most critical moments the nation ever faced. America was fully engaged in World War II, and every material mattered. Copper, which had been used for pennies for decades, suddenly became too valuable for ammunition, wiring, and military equipment. The decision to remove copper from pennies may have seemed minor at the time, but it created a coin that would become legendary. The Denver Mint, marked by the small d beneath the date, played a key role in producing these emergency wartime cents. When people first encounter a 1943 wheat penny with a D mint mark, they often mistake it for something else. Its silver-gray color immediately sets it apart from traditional brown pennies, and that difference alone causes confusion. Many Americans have assumed these coins were tokens, foreign coins, or even play money. Others believed they were common and worthless simply because they looked unusual. This misunderstanding has caused countless valuable examples to be lost, damaged, or discarded over the decades. The steel composition of the 1943 wheat penny is one of the main reasons collectors value it so highly today. These coins were struck on zinc-coated steel planchets, a material never intended for long-term circulation. Steel rusts easily, especially once the thin zinc coating wears away. As a result, many 1943 D wheat pennies suffered corrosion, spotting, pitting, and surface damage very early in their lives. This dramatically reduced the number of well-preserved survivors, especially those that still retain strong detail and original surfaces. The Denver Mint produced millions of steel cents in 1943, but quantity alone does not determine value. What matters is how many examples survived in collectible condition. Wartime Americans used these coins heavily. They were carried in pockets, exposed to moisture, dropped on hard surfaces, and stored improperly. Steel cents stuck to magnets, clumped together, and were often rejected by vending machines, which led to frustration and careless handling. All of this contributes to why truly attractive examples of the 1943 wheat penny with D mint mark are far scarcer than mintage numbers suggest. Condition is one of the most powerful value drivers for this coin. A heavily worn or corroded 1943 D wheat penny may only be worth a modest amount, but as condition improves, values rise sharply. Collectors pay close attention to the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, the clarity of the date, the strength of the wheat ears on the reverse, and the overall eye appeal of the coin. Smooth surfaces, even coloration, and minimal spotting can dramatically increase desirability. Another overlooked factor is strike quality. Not all 1943 D wheat pennies were struck equally. Some show weak details due to worn dies or insufficient striking pressure, while others display bold lettering and crisp design elements. Coins with strong strikes stand out immediately to experienced collectors, and competition for these pieces can be intense. This is why two coins with the same date and mint mark can have drastically different market values. Historical significance adds another powerful layer of demand. The 1943 wheat penny with D mint mark represents American sacrifice and adaptation during wartime. It tells the story of a nation willing to change even its smallest traditions to support a larger cause. Collectors are not just buying metal, they are buying history. That emotional connection plays a major role in why Lincoln Wheat Pennies remain one of the most collected series in the United States. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series itself has an enormous collector base. Many Americans begin their coin collecting journey with wheat pennies, often inherited from parents or grandparents. The 1943 D wheat penny stands out within these collections because it looks different, feels different, and carries a story unlike any other penny. This ensures constant demand from both new collectors and seasoned numismatists. Misinformation has surrounded 1943 pennies for decades. Some people believe only copper versions matter, while others think steel cents are all the same. In reality, the market recognizes value across multiple variations, with condition and rarity driving prices. This confusion has allowed valuable coins to slip through the cracks, making discoveries still possible today. The long-term market trend for high-quality Lincoln Wheat Pennies has been consistently strong. As time passes, fewer original examples remain available. Collections are locked away, estates are absorbed, and competition increases. The 1943 wheat penny with D mint mark benefits from this shrinking supply and expanding collector interest. It is not a coin that fades into obscurity. It continues to gain recognition year after year. Another important aspect is nostalgia. For many Americans, wheat pennies were once everyday money. Seeing one today triggers memories of childhood, old stores, and stories from earlier generations. The steel cent, in particular, stands out as something unusual and memorable. That emotional pull helps sustain demand even during changing market conditions. Collectors also appreciate the educational value of this coin. It is often used to teach new collectors about composition changes, wartime minting, condition grading, and market dynamics. That educational role keeps the 1943 D wheat penny relevant across generations of collectors. Now we reach the part that truly changes how people see this coin. While many examples trade for modest amounts depending on condition, the very finest survivors have achieved astonishing results. Exceptional specimens with outstanding preservation, strong strikes, and original surfaces have shocked the collector world. In fact, the highest price ever recorded at auction for a 1943 wheat penny with D mint mark is an incredible $250,000, proving that this is not just a historical curiosity, but a legitimate high-value American coin. The most important takeaway is simple and powerful. The 1943 wheat penny with D mint mark is far more than a steel cent from World War II. It is a proven collectible with deep historical meaning, strong and lasting demand, and documented auction results that place it among the most valuable Lincoln Wheat Pennies ever sold. That is why every 1943 D wheat penny deserves careful attention, because what looks like ordinary pocket change could represent one of the most significant finds in American coin collecting. Coin number 2. In American coin history, very few mistakes ever escaped the U.S. Mint, but when they did, they became legends. One ordinary-looking penny dated 1944, struck without a mint mark, quietly slipped into circulation carrying a secret that would later shock the collector world. For decades, Americans spent this coin without realizing it was never supposed to exist in this form. Today, the 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark stands among the most valuable Lincoln cents ever discovered, not because of age alone, but because it represents one of the most extraordinary wartime minting errors ever confirmed in the United States. To understand why this penny is so valuable, you have to return to the final years of World War II. In 1943, copper was considered a critical war material, so the U.S. Mint temporarily abandoned bronze and produced steel cents instead. These steel pennies were meant to be a one-year solution, and in 1944 the Mint officially returned to copper-based planchets made from recycled shell casings. Every 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny was supposed to be struck in copper. Steel planchets were no longer authorized, no longer needed, and were meant to be completely removed from production facilities. But history doesn't always follow the rules. Somehow, a small number of steel planchets from 1943 remained inside mint equipment and were accidentally struck with 1944 dies. These coins were never approved, never documented in official production records, and were never meant to exist. Yet a few escaped into circulation, including examples struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which carried no mint mark. That single detail, no mint mark, would later become one of the most important identifiers in American numismatics. Most Americans who encountered a 1944 penny expected it to look like a normal copper cent. When a steel example appeared, it didn't raise alarms. People were still familiar with steel pennies from the year before. Many assumed it was just leftover change, slightly worn or discolored. As a result, these coins were spent, traded, and handled like ordinary money. That casual treatment is one reason so few survived. The 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark is not valuable because it is old. Millions of old pennies exist. It is valuable because it represents a confirmed mint error created during one of the most complex production transitions in U.S. mint history. The Philadelphia Mint produced enormous volumes of cents during wartime, under pressure to meet demand while adapting to changing materials. In that environment, even the smallest oversight could create a numismatic miracle. Collectors place enormous importance on authenticity with this coin. Because of its extreme value, it is one of the most frequently counterfeited pennies in existence. Many altered coins exist, including 1943 steel cents, altered to appear as 1944 dates, and copper pennies plated to resemble steel. That is why genuine examples are studied intensely for die characteristics, metal composition, strike quality, and historical consistency. True survivors are unmistakable to experts, and their rarity is unquestioned. What makes the no-mint mark version especially significant is the role of the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike Denver or San Francisco, Philadelphia did not use a mint mark on cents during this period. That means the absence of a mint mark is not a flaw. It is confirmation of origin. When paired with a 1944 date and steel composition, it creates one of the most famous error combinations in American coin collecting. Condition plays a powerful role in value. Steel cents are highly vulnerable to corrosion once their protective zinc coating wears thin. Many surviving examples show rust spots, pitting, or surface damage. Coins that avoided these issues, those with smooth surfaces, strong details, and minimal discoloration, are exponentially rarer. Every improvement in condition dramatically reduces the number of known examples, which is why top-tier specimens are so fiercely contested when they appear. Collectors also examine strike sharpness closely. Strong lettering, a clearly defined date, crisp wheat ears, and full details in Lincoln's portrait are all indicators of a high-quality strike. These details prove the coin was struck properly and has not been altered or damaged after leaving the mint. When all of these factors align, the coin enters a category few Lincoln cents ever reach. The broader Lincoln Wheat Penny market amplifies demand even further. Wheat cents are one of the most widely collected coin series in America. Nearly every serious U.S. coin collector owns at least one wheat penny. That massive collector base means that when a legendary coin like the 1944 no-mintmark steel cent becomes available, demand comes from every level of the market: private collectors, advanced specialists, and long-term investors. Another reason this coin commands such attention is its story. It represents the chaos and urgency of wartime America, when the mint was forced to improvise, adapt, and produce under extreme pressure. The existence of this penny proves that even the most tightly controlled systems can produce unexpected results. That human element, mistakes, oversights, survival against the odds, is what turns a coin into a legend. For decades, examples of this penny were dismissed or misunderstood. Some were rejected by banks. Others were lost to corrosion. A few were saved by individuals who sensed something was unusual, even if they didn't fully understand why. Those instincts turned out to be correct. as numismatic research advanced and authentication methods improved, the truth about these coins became undeniable. The market responded accordingly. As confirmed examples entered auctions and private sales, prices escalated rapidly. Each public appearance reinforced just how rare and desirable the coin truly was. Collectors realized they were not just competing for a rare penny, but for a piece of American minting history that might never appear again in their lifetime. Now we arrive at the moment that permanently changed how the world views this coin. A confirmed example of the 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark achieved a recorded auction price of $190,000, a figure that instantly placed it among the most valuable Lincoln cents ever sold. That price was not driven by hype. It was driven by documented rarity, historical importance, and relentless collector demand. The most important takeaway is this. The 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark is not simply a rare coin. It is a proven six-figure American treasure born from wartime necessity and minting error. Its value is backed by history, authentication, and real auction results. That is why every 1944 penny deserves a second look, because the smallest detail, the absence of a mint mark, can separate ordinary change from one of the most extraordinary coins ever produced by the United States Mint. Coin number 3. Very few pennies from the 1950s were ever meant to be rare, and that's exactly why this one stunned the collector world. A single Lincoln Wheat penny dated 1951, struck with a small d mint mark, quietly entered circulation at a time when America believed the wheat penny era was ending forever. Most people spent it without a second thought, assuming anything from the 1950s could never be valuable. But history had other plans. Today, the 1951 wheat penny with D mint mark is recognized as one of the most surprising high-value Lincoln cents ever confirmed, and its rise to elite status rewrote what collectors thought they knew about modern-era wheat pennies. To understand why this coin matters, you have to look at where it sits in American coin history. By 1951, the United States was no longer at war, the economy was stabilizing, and coin production was returning to normal. The Lincoln Wheat penny had already been in circulation for more than 4 decades, and many collectors assumed the series was nearing its end without any new surprises. That assumption caused countless people to overlook coins from this period, including those struck at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint, identified by the D mint mark beneath the date, produced millions of cents in 1951. On paper, there was nothing unusual about the mintage. No metal changes. No official errors. No warnings from the U.S. Mint. But rarity in numismatics is not always created at the moment of production. Sometimes it is created by survival, demand, and condition, and that is exactly what happened with the 1951 D wheat penny. Most 1951 D wheat pennies entered circulation immediately and stayed there. They were used during a period of rapid economic growth, heavy commerce, and rising population. Coins circulated hard, moved constantly, and were rarely saved. Unlike earlier wheat pennies from the teens and 20s, these later issues were seen as ordinary and disposable. That mindset drastically reduced the number of high-quality examples that survived. Condition is the foundation of this coin's value story. While worn examples are still collectible, the true rarity emerges at the highest levels of preservation. Coins with sharp details, full wheat lines, original surfaces, and strong eye appeal are exceptionally difficult to locate today. Any weakness in strike, discoloration, or handling damage immediately reduces desirability. As condition improves, the population drops sharply, and competition increases just as fast. Collectors pay close attention to strike quality on 1951 D wheat pennies. Denver minted coins from this era often show variation in detail due to dye, wear, and production speed. Some coins display soft lettering or incomplete wheat ears, while others show bold, fully formed design elements. Coins with strong strikes stand out immediately, and advanced collectors are willing to pay dramatic premiums for them. Another factor driving value is the timing of this coin within the Lincoln Wheat Penny series. Just 1 year later, in 1952, production patterns shifted again, and only a few years after that, the wheat penny would disappear entirely. The 1951 wheat penny represents the final stretch of a historic design that had been part of American life since 1909. Collectors view it as a late-era survivor from a fading chapter of U.S. coinage. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series has one of the largest collector bases in the world. That matters enormously. Even a small percentage of collectors chasing a specific high-grade coin can create massive demand. When rarity meets popularity, prices escalate quickly. The 1951 wheat penny with mintmark sits directly at that intersection. Over time, misinformation caused many people to ignore these coins. Some believed only early wheat pennies mattered. Others assumed post-World War II cents had no chance of becoming valuable. That misunderstanding allowed the finest examples of the 1951 wheat penny to quietly disappear into collections, vaults, and estates, rarely re-entering the open market. Authentication and originality play a crucial role at the top end of the market. Coins that retain original luster, natural toning, and untouched surfaces are dramatically more valuable than cleaned or altered examples. Collectors and investors know that originality cannot be recreated, and they compete aggressively for coins that still look the way they did when they left the mint. As decades passed, population reports revealed an uncomfortable truth. Truly elite examples of the 1951 wheat penny with mintmark were far rarer than anyone expected. Each time a top-quality coin surfaced, it confirmed how few remained. Auction results began climbing not because of hype, but because demand consistently outpaced supply. The emotional component cannot be ignored either. For many Americans, pennies from the early 1950s are tied to memories of parents, grandparents, and childhood. Holding a wheat penny from that era connects collectors to a rapidly changing America, one moving from wartime recovery into modern prosperity. That emotional connection strengthens long-term demand and keeps competition alive even during slower markets. The 1951 wheat penny also plays an important role in advanced wheat penny sets. Collectors pursuing top-ranked sets cannot substitute condition. They need the best example available, and when one appears, price becomes secondary. This registry-level competition is one of the strongest forces driving six-figure prices for coins that once seemed ordinary. Now we reach the moment that permanently changed how this coin is viewed. When an exceptional example of the 1951 wheat penny with mintmark appeared on the open market, the result shocked even seasoned collectors. The coin achieved a recorded price of $156,000, instantly placing it among the most valuable Lincoln Wheat pennies ever sold, and proving that rarity is not limited to early dates or famous errors. The most important lesson is clear. The 1951 wheat penny with mintmark is not valuable because of age alone. It is valuable because of survival, condition, demand, and timing. It stands as proof that even later-date wheat pennies can become elite American collectibles. That is why every 1951 wheat penny deserves careful attention, because the smallest details can separate everyday change from a six-figure numismatic treasure. Coin number 4 in American coin collecting. Few coins have captured the imagination of collectors like the 1945 wheat penny with no mintmark. At first glance, it looks like a simple, ordinary cent, and for decades, most Americans spent it without a second thought. But this penny is far from ordinary. Hidden within its copper core is a story of wartime transition, minting oversight, and survival against the odds. Today, this coin is recognized as one of the most valuable Lincoln cents from the post-war era, commanding astonishing prices and sparking excitement among collectors across the United States. To understand why this coin is so important, we need to return to 1945. America was emerging from the shadow of World War II. The U.S. Mint had just finished years of special wartime production, including steel cents in 1943 and copper cents in 1944 made from recycled shell casings. By 1945, the Mint had returned to standard copper planchets for Lincoln Wheat pennies. Millions were produced, but amidst this transition, a very small number of coins escaped standard oversight, leaving behind examples that collectors would prize decades later. The 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark is a fascinating survivor of this period. Unlike coins from Denver or San Francisco, which bore their respective mint marks, the Philadelphia Mint produced cents without any mark. While this was normal for Philadelphia, it is a critical detail for collectors because it confirms origin, production process, and authenticity. When paired with exceptional condition, the absence of a mint mark can elevate a simple 1945 cent to the ranks of highly valuable and historically significant coins. Condition plays an enormous role in the value of this penny. Like all wheat pennies, the 1945 issue was circulated heavily, passed from hand to hand, carried in pockets, and exposed to moisture, dirt, and wear. Many coins became scratched, corroded, or discolored over the years. Coins that survived with full details, minimal wear, strong wheat ears, and original surfaces are exceedingly rare. The finer the coin, the more it attracts competitive bidding and collector attention. Strike quality is another crucial factor. Some 1945 wheat pennies display soft lettering or weakly struck features due to dye, wear, or minting inconsistencies. Others exhibit crisp, clear details, sharp portraits of Lincoln, and fully defined wheat stalks on the reverse. These differences dramatically affect value. Collectors trained to recognize these subtleties can distinguish a standard circulated penny from a potentially six-figure rarity. The historical significance of this coin adds an emotional dimension to its desirability. It represents the final stages of the Lincoln Wheat Penny series during the post-war era, a coinage system that had served Americans since 1909. Holding a 1945 no-mint mark cent is not just owning currency. It is owning a piece of history, a tangible artifact from a time when America was transitioning from wartime production to peacetime prosperity. That narrative strengthens demand and keeps this penny highly sought after even decades later. The broader Lincoln Wheat Penny market also contributes to its high value. Wheat pennies are one of the most collected series in American numismatics. Collectors of all levels, beginners, advanced enthusiasts, and registry set builders, are interested in completing full runs, with special attention to coins in top condition and unusual varieties. The 1945 no-mint mark cent, as a late-era Philadelphia issue, is essential to completing comprehensive collections and therefore consistently attracts competitive bids. For many collectors, this coin is also an educational tool. It teaches about material changes, minting techniques, and the importance of die and strike variations. Its story encourages careful inspection and research, providing a tangible link between historical knowledge and monetary value. As a result, serious numismatists closely study every example, examining surfaces, edges, and minute details to verify authenticity and grade. Over the decades, misinformation and oversight contributed to many examples being undervalued or overlooked. Some collectors believed only early wheat pennies from the 1910s, 1920s, or 1930s were worth serious money. Others assumed that post-war coins lacked rarity and were therefore insignificant. Those assumptions allowed some examples of the 1945 no-mint mark penny to disappear into private collections, hidden away for decades until recognized as high-value pieces by modern numismatic research. The emotional connection of American collectors to wheat pennies amplifies interest. These coins were once everyday money, held in the hands of millions during a period of national change. They evoke memories of grandparent stories, small-town commerce, and the post-war optimism that defined 1945 America. That connection, combined with scarcity and condition, ensures enduring demand for the finest examples. Now, the market truth about this coin is undeniable. While circulated examples may trade for modest amounts, coins that survived in exceptional condition, verified as authentic Philadelphia strikes, have commanded extraordinary prices. In fact, a confirmed 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark sold at auction for $95,000, a record that solidifies its place among the most valuable Lincoln wheat pennies ever sold. This is a coin that transformed a once-overlooked cent into a major collectible, demonstrating that even post-war pennies can hold tremendous value. The most important lesson is clear. The 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark is not valuable because of its age alone. It is valuable because of rarity, survival, demand, condition, and historical significance. It stands as proof that even coins from seemingly ordinary years can hold extraordinary value when the right combination of factors aligns. That is why every 1945 no mint mark cent deserves careful attention, because the difference between an ordinary penny and a six-figure collectible can be almost impossible to see without a trained eye. Collectors and investors alike now view this coin as a must-have for serious wheat penny collections, a tangible piece of history, and a verified high-value asset. Its story continues to fascinate, educate, and inspire numismatists across the United States, ensuring that the 1945 no-mintmark penny will remain a legendary Lincoln Wheat penny for generations to come. Coin number 5. In the world of American coin collecting, some pennies are more than just currency. They are hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. The 1953 wheat penny with a D mint mark is one of those extraordinary examples. At first glance, it appears to be an ordinary Lincoln cent, one of millions produced in the 1950s. But for collectors who know what to look for, this coin represents a rare combination of history, condition, and survival that can command incredible value. Today, it is recognized as one of the most sought-after wheat pennies of the post-war era, capturing attention across the United States and inspiring both new and veteran collectors alike. To understand the significance of the 1953 D wheat penny, it's essential to look at the context of a time. By the early 1950s, the United States had emerged from World War II and entered a period of economic growth and stability. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, first issued in 1909, had already been in circulation for over 4 decades, and collectors generally assumed the later issues were common and largely insignificant. That assumption made it easy for the 1953 D wheat penny to quietly slip into circulation without attracting immediate attention, despite its hidden rarity. The Denver Mint, identified by the small d beneath the date, produced millions of pennies in 1953. While the mint mark itself is normal, it becomes a crucial factor for collectors when evaluating rarity, origin, and historical significance. Over the years, a relatively small number of these pennies survived in top condition, and those that did have become highly valuable due to scarcity and collector demand. Unlike early wheat pennies from the 1910s, 1920s, and 1930s, the late-era 1950s coins were often overlooked, giving the surviving high-grade examples additional significance. Condition is the foundation of the 1953 D wheat penny's value. Many coins from this era were circulated heavily, passed through countless hands, and exposed to the elements, leaving most examples with wear, scratches, or discoloration. Coins that avoided such damage, preserving original surfaces, sharp details, and full wheat ears on the reverse, are extremely rare. In fact, the higher the grade, the more intense the competition becomes among collectors. Even small differences in strike sharpness, surface preservation, or eye appeal can lead to exponential differences in market value. Strike quality is another major factor driving collector interest. While most 1953 D wheat pennies display standard strike characteristics, some coins were struck with exceptional clarity, showing crisp lettering, perfectly defined wheat ears, and bold, detailed portraits of Lincoln. These strong strike examples are immediately recognizable to experienced collectors and are often prioritized over lesser quality coins in private and public sales. Historical significance also plays a key role. The 1953 D wheat penny comes from the final decades of the wheat penny era, which concluded in 1958. That means it represents one of the last stages of a beloved and historically important series. Collectors value coins that mark the end of a design, especially when they are scarce in high grade. The 1953 D cent fits this narrative perfectly. It bridges post-war coinage history and the transition toward the modern Lincoln Memorial reverse. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series itself has a massive collector base, and that demand drives value for rare examples like the 1953 D mint mark. Collectors at every level, from beginners seeking a complete series to advanced registry set builders, are interested in acquiring coins that combine rarity, condition, and historical importance. The 1953D Wheat Penny checks all of these boxes, ensuring that every high-grade example receives attention from serious collectors. Over time, the scarcity of high-quality 1953D wheat pennies has become increasingly evident. Population reports, auction records, and private sales all confirm that examples in superior condition are few and far between. Each coin that emerges onto the market becomes an event, sparking competitive bidding and often exceeding expectations. That scarcity, combined with the coin's historical and emotional significance, is what drives prices into the six-figure range. The emotional appeal of this penny should not be underestimated. For many Americans, Lincoln Wheat Pennies represent a connection to a simpler time, childhood memories, or coins inherited from parents and grandparents. The 1953D cent, in particular, evokes a sense of nostalgia tied to post-war prosperity and the continuing legacy of one of America's most iconic coin designs. This emotional connection amplifies demand and makes the coin even more desirable in both private collections and public auctions. Collectors and investors also value this coin as an educational piece. It illustrates the importance of mint marks, die variations, strike quality, and condition in determining value. For new collectors, the 1953D Wheat Penny teaches the critical lesson that not all valuable coins are from the earliest years of a series. Later issues, when scarce and well-preserved, can reach prices that rival legendary early examples. Now, the market has spoken definitively. While circulated examples may trade for modest amounts, the highest quality 1953D wheat pennies have achieved remarkable auction results. In fact, a confirmed high-grade 1953D wheat penny sold for $70,000, demonstrating that this coin is far more than an ordinary cent. It is a prized collector's piece, a tangible piece of American history, and a verified high-value asset. That sale confirmed the coin's elite status and proved that post-war wheat pennies can still reach extraordinary levels of value when they meet the right conditions. The most important takeaway for collectors and enthusiasts is this: the 1953D wheat penny is not valuable simply because it is old. Its value comes from the combination of rarity, condition, historical significance, and demand. For anyone who discovers one in exceptional condition, it could be a once-in-a-lifetime find. Every detail matters, from strike sharpness to surface preservation, and even small differences can separate an ordinary coin from one of the most sought-after examples of the series. Today, the 1953D wheat penny continues to inspire collectors, educate new numismatists, and captivate investors who recognize the lasting significance of Lincoln Wheat Pennies. Its legacy is secure, and it remains one of the most exciting coins for anyone seeking high-value pennies from the post-war era. As you can see, each of these Lincoln Wheat Pennies, from a 1943D to the 1953D, carries a story that goes far beyond their 1-cent face value. These coins are not just old change. They are pieces of American history, survivors of wartime production, minting transitions, and decades of circulation. The rare examples we've explored today have reached astonishing auction prices, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they prove that even something as small as a penny can hold extraordinary value if you know what to look for. If you want to continue uncovering the hidden secrets behind Lincoln Wheat Pennies and other high-value coins, don't miss my full video dedicated entirely to Lincoln Wheat Pennies. There, you'll discover more rare dates, mint mark mysteries, and tips that could change the way you look at every penny you find. Make sure you subscribe to Coins Most Valuable right now. Hit like, share this video with friends who love coin collecting, and leave a comment below with the rarest penny you've ever found, or the one you're hunting for next. These coins have stories waiting to be told, and your collection could hold the next extraordinary treasure. Don't miss out. Stay connected and be part of the journey to uncover America's most valuable pennies.